Greetings and welcome to this channel, Believers Building Wealth. I am so honored and privileged to have you here. If this is your first time joining us, I say thank you, welcome. In today's video, I will discuss with you three important lessons about building wealth. Three important wealth building lessons. But before I do that, I just want to take this time to thank you for being part of this family, a family of wealth building people. If this is your first time, welcome. If you are a repeat visitor, I say thank you. I ask of you, please, if you could share this video, comment on this video, and like it, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, let's talk about the three wealth building lessons, critical lessons. Lesson number one, make a budget. A lot of us desire to be wealthy. A lot of us desire to be financially independent, but very few of us spend time to make a budget. In Luke 14:28 through 29, Jesus talks about a builder wanting to build and ask that builder, who of you will build or go on to build without necessarily sitting down to put out a budget, to set up a budget. It is very imperative that if you want to succeed financially, the first step is to make a budget. Have a budget. Have a monthly budget, weekly budget, quarterly budget, annual budget, or budget for whatever projects you want to do. The second lesson or the second thing you need to do is to get out of debt. Now, I know there's a lot of discussion as to whether or not debt is good, but my greater view is not to carry on debt. The Bible says in in Proverbs 22:7 that the borrower is a slave to the lender. Why will you want to enslave yourself? Why will you do so? Now, this is to say, not to say that I am categorically against debt. I am in support of a debt, and I will do a lesson on debt in a different video. But there are certain debts that I will encourage you to carry. For example, just briefly talking about it, educational debt, debt for income, for a business plan that will generate income. That I will encourage. But debt in itself, to carry on debt, unnecessary debt, it's not the sole path to financial freedom. The third lesson, or the third thing you need to do, is to set aside an emergency fund. You ask, what is an emergency fund? Again, I will do an in-depth study as to an emergency fund in another video. But what an emergency fund, to give a brief description of it, is funds set aside for emergencies. You do not, and part of this is to avoid carrying on debt. Part of it is to avoid charging to a credit card, going out and seeking for loans to take care of an emergency. Emergencies will happen. Things will happen. You should be prepared for it. None of these things should take you unawares. In Genesis 41, when Pharaoh had a dream, Joseph told him to set aside 1/5, which is 20%, for those rainy days, for those bad days. And the Bible also tells me that when you go through, I think this is Psalms 23, verse 4, it says, when you go through the valley, there will be those moments, those difficult moments. They are there. Those moments are bound to happen. So what do? You plan for those moments by setting an emergency fund. So there are three important lessons here that I share with you in this video today. Lesson number one, make a budget. Have a budget. Individual budget, family budget. Have one. If it's a business, have a business budget. Plan number two, or step number two, or lesson number two is get out of debt. Do not carry on any debt, especially liabilities, not income generating debt. Do not carry on any debt. And lesson number three is to set aside an emergency fund. Now, I just want to thank you for spending time with me. And again, if you did like this video, please share it, like it, and comment on it. Thank you.